Has human civilization only been around for a few thousand years? If you really understand Earth's history, you'll discover a terrifying truth hidden within. Because according to fossil records, the first humans appeared 7 million years ago. It took 300,000 years to create the first tools. And only 6,500 years ago did the first ancient civilization. So, here's the mind-boggling question. Why did humanity suddenly, having wisdom, why do almost all ancient civilizations in the world suddenly appear on Earth and then disappear without a trace? All of this seems to be telling us Earth in ancient times might have experienced an earth-shattering change. This change is enough to alter the history of civilization on Earth. Maybe we are not the first civilization to appear on Earth. You gotta see this for yourself. Normally speaking, the higher the layer, the younger it is. The deeper we go, the older the layers get. Think of these layers as the Earth's history book, each page meticulously recording the Earth's changes, the vast changes and evolution. If we follow this line of thinking and keep digging down, the first things we should unearth would likely be remnants of modern human activity, like tools left behind decades ago, shattered peach pieces, and ancient currency. Keep digging deeper. We might just unearth dinosaurs from 100 million years, trilobite fossils from 500 million years ago, and so on. However, in these layers spanning over 7, we have yet to come across any trace of a prehistoric civilization. Believers in ancient civilizations, maybe we're digging in the wrong spot. Maybe the prehistoric traces have faded away over time, lost in the river of history. If the Earth were to be destroyed at this moment, in the 50,000 years after humans disappeared, you wouldn't find any traces of civilization at all. As the stars shift and turn with the movement of Earth's tectonic plate by humans, collapse in frequent earthquakes, covered by wind and sand, weathered by the rain. Until the very end, everything's submerged in the river of time, becoming a part of nature. However, future generations can still trace the changes in carbon-12, speculating that signs of civilization might have existed during this period. What's frightening is, in geological exploration, can you believe we stumbled upon something from ancient, something so bizarre happening on Earth? Let's go back to 1991. After scientists drilled into Antarctica, they discovered something really strange. During the late Cretaceous period, about 55 million years ago, the Tay-12 suddenly underwent a massive transformation, leading to a global time warp. This event is known as the Late Cretaceous, the Heart City Instant Heat Incident. This incident lasted a whopping 20,000 years, causing the global average temperature to rise by 8 degrees Celsius. Even the North and South poles have turned into tropical rainforests. Even though scientists have already explained the reason behind this extreme heat event, it might be due to massive volcanic eruptions, resulting in a phenomenon of carbon emissions. But if we analyze this according to the laws of civilization, it will lead to a thought-provoking and somewhat frightening conclusion. Because when civilization reaches a certain point, it is bound to go through an industrial revolution, and coal and oil, as the foundation of industry, will undoubtedly impact the basic energy source. In the over 200 years of modern industrialization, the carbon emissions produced have caused the global average temperature to rise by 1.2 degrees Celsius. So let's say this sudden heat wave is a result of the carbon emissions from advanced civilization. Then, compared to our current levels of fossil fuel burning, their level of civilization might have already reached 0.85. Unfortunately, this bold speculation lacks direct, concrete scientific evidence to gain everyone's approval. However, the geologists were in Jedburgh, Scotland. Seen. The brown rocks in the upper layer of the photo are ancient red sandstones from 370 million. The gray rocks in the lower layer are hard sandstones from 440 million years ago. Faced with this strange phenomenon, they keep discovering. James Holden couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat of shock. Two rocks that differ by nearly 70 million years somehow fit perfectly together. It's like someone deliberately erased the middle section. This makes absolutely no sense. This geological structure is known as the Bouging River Formation. Initially, geologists thought James Holden's discovery was just a random occurrence. But as more and more unconformities were found, the geologists are freaking out completely. The riverbed at Praia do Terreiro Beach in Portugal, the riverbed in New Mexico, the riverbed in Jingtai County, Gansu, the riverbed near Dresden, Germany, and so on. If you took the 4.6 billion years of Earth's history and compared it to a 460-page book, it would mean a whopping 7 pages have been forcefully erased. So what could possibly be the reason? It caused a fracture in Earth's history. Let's go back to 1869. The geographer John Powell, when he was exploring the American West, he discovered a mysterious valley, the Grand Canyon in Colorado. The structure of this canyon is like a book, layer upon layer. It's filled with the history of Earth's 4.6 billion years. Almost every page, it's all detailed with the vicissitudes of the past and the endless years. What's unbelievable to Buck Williams is the whole riverbed in the canyon has a staggering time span of up to 1 billion years. If we say the previously lost 7 pages could be explained by plate tectonics and geological warfare theory, then how do we explain these missing 100 pages? What's the explanation for that? What's even more bone-chilling is Darwin can't even find any creatures before Hanawuji. Fossil record can't even begin to explain the real reason behind Hanawuji's explosion of life. If life really did evolve, we should be able to find fossils of transitional species in the rock layers. But during that time period, life seems to have just suddenly appeared out of nowhere. The sudden appearance of these fossils is mind-blowing. It's like the biggest plot hole in evolution. Those missing billions of years in the rock layers. What on Earth happened? Could it be interference from an ancient or just shifts in the Earth's geology? Have any of you ever pondered a question like this? We went from the 17th era to a measly 0.7 on the cosmic civilization scale. It took a whopping 2.6 million years. From the Industrial Revolution to the first atomic bomb explosion. We did it in just over 200 years. So, in the long history of Earth's 4.6 billion years, there are 1,769 periods of 2.6. It's calculated from the Cambrian explosion of life onwards. That means in 540 million years, 207 cycles could evolve. Such a massive foundation. Is it possible for a prehistoric civilization to evolve? This is the encyclopedia of tales. If you follow me, you'll know way too much. Almost all the evidence points to one stunning fact. More than 10,000 years ago, there was a civilization on Earth. Don't believe me? Look at these 2 photos. If it's the same building, then this will be the key piece of evidence, the most important ironclad proof. This photo, it's NASA, captured by the Gemini 4 spacecraft in 1965. What's amazing is the unusual structure in the photo, standing out against the endless yellow sand. It looks out of place. Could this be remnants of ancient human civilization? Leftover buildings from the past? What's eerie is, just 2 years after this photo was taken, the American Romance Bureau is back on the case. The giant eye in the photo, a secret operation codenamed the Femme Fatale Plan on female Earth, but with the 2005 declassified files being exposed. A hidden truth slowly came to light, is starting to come out. In this classified document, it's clear as day what the purpose of this mission's investigation is, and the haunting sounds of the Sahara Desert were emphasized. But there are 2 crucial pieces of information in the documents, deliberately concealed. Seems to be hinting at some sort of extraordinary discovery. The first, smaller concealment at play is, they utilized a cargo plane platform for data collection. However, the device hidden within the equipment is an undisclosed type. The data receiving device with confidentiality. What's even more thought-provoking is the second cover-up. Despite the claims on the documents, the scientific aspects of the investigation are available for global researchers to share. But the subsequent discovery, even within the framework of the Freedom of Information Act, still cannot be disclosed to the public. The scientific content, if it's not confidential, does that also mean there are still unknowns in this investigation? Any groundbreaking discoveries on the science? The American Bureau of Time. What exactly was uncovered in this operation? Why are they so fixated on the Eye of the Sahara? What's their special interest in it? All of this, everything, it all traces back to a famous ancient lost city. Let's talk about Atlantis. About Atlantis, the earliest record we could find was in the dialogues of ancient Greek. Plato. Legend has it, it was located in the waters opposite the Strait of Gibraltar, a kingdom created by the sea god Poesy, with Atlas as its first king. Atlantis had advanced technology and a highly developed civilization. But on the eve of attacking Athens, it was hit by a great flood. It became a place where no ship could reach, and vanished into the river of history. However, according to modern satellite maps, on the other side of the Strait of Gibraltar, other than being a deep and endless Atlantic Ocean and the vast Sahara Desert, it simply doesn't exist. The mythical city of Atlantis that Plato spoke. But things often don't just end so simply. The epic story is just beginning to unfold. As more and more space photos are revealed, people are astonished to discover the Eye of the Sahara, located in Mauritania. It's not only in appearance, but also in its geographical location that bears many similarities to the Atlantis described by Plato. In the dialogues, the original text describes the mountains surround Atlantis. Atlantis is surrounded by mountains, down by the sea. Looking at it on a map, the terrain structure of the Sahara Eye perfectly fits the characteristics of and those around the giant eye. Landmarks carved by floods, and the sediment layers found on the Atlantic seabed are all silently telling. Maybe this desert used to be an ocean. Plato even mentioned in his dialogues, large herds of elephants once lived on the island of Atlantis in great numbers, and the palaces and temple roofs were made of ivory. Surprisingly, Scientific research has confirmed that the now barren Sahara Desert was once a thriving oasis in ancient times, with a wide variety of species and rich biodiversity. And there's also a huge number of African jungles still living. Like right after, scientists have also found a large number in this area. The lonely ancient whale. What's even more coincidental is the diameter of the Sahara Eye is 23.5 kilometers, which is only 0.1 kilometers different from the 23.4 kilometers, just a mere difference of 0.1 kilometers. What's interesting is, near the Sahara Eye in Mauritania, there's an ancient legend that's been passed down in the local tribe. Legend has it that the first king to rule Mauritania was named Atlas. Yes, Atlas. And the first king of Atlantis was also named, according to the Mauritanians, their ancestor Atlas came from the great mountains in the north. And the country he established was right where the people of the Sahara in Mauritania. That's right. The legend goes that he built his kingdom in the very heart of the Mauritanian Sahara. So where exactly is this place called North Mountain? This figure, Atlas, does he really exist in history? Following these clues, according to modern satellite maps, we discovered up north in Mauritania, there is indeed a mountain range called the Atlas Mountains, but it's named after the ancient Greek mythological titan, Atlas. It's a coincidence, but the Atlantic Ocean, known in ancient Greece as the Atlas Sea. All these clues seem to be telling us that this figure Atlas might have actually existed in history, and he likely hailed from ancient northern Greece, which aligns closely with local legends. But this raises a new question. The Atlas they're talking about, are they referring to the same person? If the above isn't convincing enough, then please open the satellite images. Find the location of the Eye of the Sahara. That prominent white ringed area is primarily made up of rocks. In ancient times, rocks were an important resource. They were known as platinum. It symbolizes wealth. And the Atlantis recorded by Plato, also rich in rocks, as well as various metal ores. When a series of coincidences converge, then the so-called truth will become even more elusive. Obviously, things are far more complicated than we imagined. Time goes back to 443 BC, when the Greek historian Herodotus set foot on the land of Egypt. He was greeted not by magnificent temples, but by weathered and crumbling ruins. Those once towering pyramids now hidden, buried beneath the sands, the knowledge of those ancient worlds, now scattered like shards, lost in the vast desert sands. Herodotus recorded what he saw and heard, put all these scattered pieces together to form one, the original world map. In this map, we can see the un-India in the distant east, countless ancient rivers in the north, and boundless unknown regions in desolate, uninhabited desert. But in the far west of the map, suddenly, Atlas appeared, and the label for Atlantis. Looking at modern satellite maps, they all seem to be pointing precisely towards the mysterious Eye of the Sahara. This series of eerie coincidences, what exactly are they trying to tell us? The legendary Atlantis. Could it be the giant eye in the Sahara Desert? Even more coincidental is, according to scientific research, after the Freshwoman Wood event wrapped up, about 11,500 years ago, the sea level on Earth suddenly rose. This event is known as the water pulse. At this point in time, it coincides with what Plato recorded, the disappearance of Atlantis. Even though all the evidence seems to point to the same truth. But debunking this theory often only takes one. Let's talk about Atlantis. This story, it's like Plato heard it from a character named Sulan hundreds of years ago, and Sulan heard it from a guy named Casey in Egypt. So as the story gets passed along, who can guarantee whether there will be deviations from the plot and translation flaws? But another reason is, everything mentioned above still can't prove it. That spot is the legendary Atlantis ruins. Because in the mainstream scientific community, no big shot in academia has ever admitted to that assumption, nor any authoritative official institution issued one without censored investigation report. And what I've analyzed, that doesn't mean they're automatically authoritative. But have you guys even thought about it? Why did the American CIA release a collection plan document with multiple typos? Why do almost all research projects deliberately hide important information when they're forced to go public? Like the Apollo Moon landing program documents and reports on alien investigations and so on. The facts speak for themselves. What we ordinary folks can see is just what they want us to see. There are too many unknown truths in this world that regular people like us simply can't reach. So, please keep an open mind towards those absurd viewpoints instead of blindly opposing them, or blindly dismissing them, or blindly resisting them. This world, it's precisely because of different voices that push us to think, push us to progress. This is Encyclopedia Tales. Follow me and you'll know too much. What was the ancient world like? Over 10,000. Did someone really see the world from the perspective of Americana? This book has stirred up a lot of controversy. Some people believe that he is the lost 120,000-year history of ancient humans, because most of the content in the book can not only be found in reality, but even in the ancient legends of civilizations around the world. Their presence can be seen at the Louvre in France and in the ruins of the Aztec dynasty's palace. There are two statues standing tall, with people's hands. The most striking thing in the picture is that pair of sword-wielding big bird wings, and that mysterious human hand image. What's hard to believe is, the same creature is also recorded in the classic of mountains and sea. It has the body of a horse and the tiger stripes and bird wings, bloodfish rising in the four seas like a river. The difference is, if you don't look closely, you can't tell at all what's really hiding under those plump wings, a cow or a horse. But here's the problem. Why is Ying Zhao showing up here? Could it be someone saw this creature a long time ago and actually documented it? The shocking part is still to come. In the American folklore book West Mountain, it describes a type of fish that can fly, strong as a carp, fish body with bird wings. With age comes wisdom. The strange thing is, in the Atlantic Ocean, there exists a type of flying fish. They can leap out of the water over 10 meters and can stay in the air for as long as over 40 seconds. These unbelievable coincidences. What exactly is being implied here? The so-called Wenyao fish. Could it be another species of flying fish? What's really terrifying is, whether it's Ying Zhao or Wenyao fish, in the Shanhaijing's Xishan Classic, the locations where they appear are all on the west side of a certain mountain. But the eerie place is right here. What is described in the Xishan Classic? It should be ancient Huaxia, the world that happened in the northwest direction. But the problem is, the above two incidents, the location is also to our west. So, how did they manage to have a common god? Memory of words? In the Shanhai Jing outside of Beijing, it also records the kingdom of the lone. Their eyes are smack dab in the middle of their faces. Tall, strong, and mighty. He's also one of the 36 overseas countries from Huainan. Originally just a crazy and unbelievable myth. What's strange is that it's not just in the East. The father of Western history, Herodotus, also mentioned multiple times in his historical writings, in a place even farther from the Isidones, inhabited by the one-eyed Aramis-Spoi people. Further on, living the guardians of the gold. Even in Greek mythology, and later in Roman mythology, there have been sightings of one-eyed giants. Why does the legend of Duchuan appear in both ancient Eastern and Western texts? Why would two ancient nations thousands of miles apart share the same mythological memory? These seemingly endless questions have yet to find an answer. Unbelievable discoveries keep coming one after another. Inside the Darlbine Church in Denmark, a bizarre arm suddenly appeared. A headless figure suddenly appeared in the mural, with shame as his eyes, with it as his mouth. This is clearly the image of Xingtian from Chinese mythology. How could he appear here? According to the overseas passages in the Shanhai Jing, legend has it that Xingtian fought the emperor for the throne. After getting his head chopped off by the emperor, he bravely held onto his shield and fought until the very end. Could it be that the artist of the mural wanted to tell us the story of Xingtian actually took place in the western land of Denmark? Or perhaps, a long, long time ago, someone carried our mythological stories all the way to the Western Alliance. It's terrifying to think about all these similarities mentioned above. Just the tip of the iceberg from the mysterious Shanhai Jing. As the research goes deeper, more and more unexplainable coincidences are starting to surface. American scholar, after reading Vinny's translation of the Shanhai Jing, believes that what's recorded in the Shanhai Jing could very well be the geography of a previous civilization and ancient mythical beasts. But according to the current satellite maps, the landscapes described in the Shanhai Jing can't be found in reality. Since the mountains and rivers mentioned in the Shanhai Jing don't exist in Asia, could they possibly be located on the eastern edge of America instead of China? To confirm this theory, Mrs. Mosley decided to go search for those non-existent landscapes, measure it step by step, that lost ancient mythological world. He actually followed the instructions in the Dongshan, converting the ancient li to modern miles. Head west for 300 miles. He just kept walking west for 300 miles, carefully retracing the locations described in the classic of Mount, went through it all over again. Then he made an astonishing discovery. The directions of the 4 mountain ranges recorded in the classic of Mount. Those 4 mountain ranges in America have astonishing similarities, including the distance between the mountains, the distribution of wildlife, and the direction of the surrounding rivers. And during the survey process, he also discovered that among the local Native American tribes, there were even myths and legends about a 10-day sun eclipse. And in the classic of Mountain, as well as many ancient Chinese texts, there are even records of 10 suns appearing. 2 continents separated by thousands. Why would there be common mythological stories? Could it be that a long time ago, did they come to the east? Or perhaps, Were they once ancient Huas, an inseparable part of Xia? Ms. Moss still believes. The Great Hianshan Haijing. It's in Arizona, in a place called Coro. The Grand Canyon. Based on all the research he's done in recent years, he came to a shocking conclusion that at least over 2,000 years ago, the Chinese had already explored the continent of America. He compiled all this information he gathered into a series of books. As soon as they were released, they caused a huge stir. If his theories are correct. So, China's history will no longer be just 5,000 years. But some people also think Mrs. Moss's far-fetched, complicated explanation seems a bit too convenient and lacks direct archaeological evidence to support it. Just basing it on a book with a specific timeline doesn't really prove those conclusions. Up until now, not just Mrs. Moss's research, we never got the recognition we deserved in the even a book like The Mountains and was dismissed as just a simple book of myths. It had no historical value whatsoever. So how do we explain those astonishing coincidences? Are they really just mere coincidences? Could it be? Is it really just a case of fitting the pieces together? This is Encyclopedia Tales. If you focus on me, you'll know way too much. The heavens in ancient times. What kind of existence it really is. If I were to tell you, the heavens unseen by human, it's not the sky you imagine. It's actually a massive head. How would you feel about that? This is how the character for heaven is written in Oracle Bone. This is how the character for person is written in Oracle Bone script. It's strange, isn't it? Why is there a circle above the head of the character for person? What does it represent? Could it be that the ancient sky was actually a tangible entity? In 2009, history PhD Li Wei came to a startling conclusion based on this Oracle Bone inscription. It turns out that in ancient times, there was once a cataclysmic event on Earth, a earth-shattering, mind-blowing change. This cosmic upheaval not only destroyed all traces of the previous civilization, but also completely altered people's understanding of the heavens. The so-called north-south-east-west line of Tianjin, Gong Gong appearing, Nuwa mending the sky, and a series of other mythological are the true records of that great disaster. And the truth behind all of this seems to be hidden in this ancient inscription. Not only that, a drive east, after compiling a series of ancient mythological stories, after years of dedicated research, believes that the ancient concept of heaven is not just a physical entity, but also the reason behind that cataclysmic change in the world. All seem to point towards that inconspicuous planet, the moon. Once this mind-blowing statement was made public, it immediately caused a huge uproar. Without the title of a history professor, it would have been drowned out by the chatter of countless scholars. So, what exactly have you discovered for Drive East? Why are the heavens mentioned in ancient related to the moon? Why is it that ever since the collapse, following the mythical story of the endless sky, did ancient people start worshipping the heavens? When faced with these seemingly nonsensical questions, the experts seemed a bit dismissive, because the mainstream academic community has Dr. Liam Wei's theory is just a conspiracy theory to grab attention, without a shred of evidence to support it. But the strange thing is, archaeologists in Inner Mongolia Bayan, Dal's Inshan rock paintings, actually discovered a mysterious mural. There's a person in the frame. They're devoutly worshipping a spherical object. According to the petroglyphs discovered from the same period, this object doesn't seem to be emitting any light. It's not like the blazing, more like an object enveloping the earth. So what does this spherical object actually represent? Could this be what they call the heavens? If we follow Dr. Lee's theory, the ancient heavens were a tangible earth. It kind of sort of makes sense, I guess. Because the ancient folks were all about those oracle bones, man. They were all about using these cool pictures to write stuff. So through these oracle bones, you can kind of peek into what life was like thousands of years ago. But why is Lee so darn sure? That big old brain in the oracle bones is actually talking about the moon? It all seems to trace back to finding clues in those old myths, you know? In ancient Chinese mythology, besides plenty of tales about the sun and the sky, there's hardly any mention of myths about the moon. The moon's appearance was only added in later on. Like Pangu and Yuhua, Fuxi, the Emperor Zhurong, Qiyu, the dragon god, and so on, and all the myths about them. There are hardly any records of the moon appearing as the most prominent celestial body in the night sky. Why is his figure missing in the major events of can't find his silhouette? This obviously doesn't make sense. Could it be that in ancient times, the moon never actually appeared? Or is it that the ancient people's level of belief in the moon has reached the point of prohibiting the use of words to describe it? The secret of the moon. I used to think that once we set foot on the moon, we would uncover its truth. But the truth is telling us, the more we know, the more we don't know. July 21st, 1969, when Armstrong left humanity's first footprint in this barren land. Mystery after mystery keeps coming our way. First off, the live broadcast of the moon landing suddenly cut out for over 4. As for the reason behind it, speculation runs rampant. Then, when the return module hit the moon, it actually triggered over an hour-long moonquake. What's even more baffling is, scientists, using multiple moon probes, analyzed the data they sent back. We've stumbled upon something really bizarre. All the meteorite craters on the entire moon, they're all almost the same depth. No matter how big the meteorite impact, the depth is always around 10 kilometers. These unexplainable, irrational phenomena, what are they trying to tell us? Could it be that due to cognitive issues? What we know is just the tip of the iceberg for him. More and more bizarre things are being uncovered, yet more unknown mysteries keep popping up. Instead, it evolved into a mystery with no answers. Does the civilization exist in this world? If it does, what could be the reason behind it that led to the disappearance of the previous generation? And why is it present in all the mythological stories around the world? We all carry memories of the ancient Great Flood. Are you suggesting, is this shared mythic memory telling us that in ancient times, Earth really experienced a cataclysmic event? And the truth behind this disaster is just as Dr. Li Weidong said, hidden within the oracle bones? Welcome to Myth Encyclopedia. Pay attention to me, and you'll know too much. How smart were the humans over 10,000 years ago? Stories from mythology. Maybe it's a historical event that actually happened. This is the most mysterious relic, the most puzzling relic in existence. If it's true, the history of human civilization would go back 12,000 years. It might even prove the existence of ancient civilizations. Because the earliest Sumerian civilization dates back, the earliest known civilization, the Great Pyramid of Giza, is 4,500 years, while our Sank-Singui civilization only dates back to around 3 to 4. Yet on these stones from over 10,000 years ago, not only intricately carved with various animal patterns, but also perfectly cut into neat and uniform lines. This is the astonishing Göbekli Tepe. From the ancient period 12,000 years ago, humanity, they only know how to create and use simple primitive tools. They even lead a primitive life like wearing shoes made of fur and silver. What kind of tools did they actually use? And what methods did they employ to polish the stone surfaces of the street so smoothly? What shocked archaeologists even more is that beneath this desolate ancient mound are layers upon layers of even more grand and magnificent stone. And the further down they go, the more ancient these stone structures become, and the scale and craftsmanship are getting even more exquisite. So here's the question. Why did ancient humans bury Stone Town right after building it, and then build another, smaller stone and bury it again? And keep building, and bury again, and build again. This strange cycle continued for thousands of years. Is this bizarre behavior trying to tell us something? After ancient humans completed the stone town, did they discover something unusual? The strange part comes later. According to experts' speculation, based on the technological level of the time, just moving a single stone block would have required at least 100 people. Even the smallest upper-level town would have needed at least 5,000 working simultaneously for 5 years to complete. Back in the 17th era, around 12,000 couldn't even bring together a big crowd. No way. In a project of this magnitude, around the hills of Göbekli Tepe, not a trace of human habitation found, not a single clue, no marks left behind from quarrying stones either. The whole stone town seems like it just popped out of thin air all of a sudden. Experts are carbon dating the stone town, doing some copper alloy measurement. We stumbled upon something truly mind-blowing. The construction of Stone Town dates back to 11,450 years ago. As for 9,950 years ago, this means that ancient people were on this hill, working day and night. It took 1,500 years to build Stone Town. What's strange is, whether it's the East or the West, following the natural course of history, between powerful dynasties ruling, it's only been a few hundred years. And within this 1,500-year span, spanning from the era of the Chinese southern and northern to the present day, what kind of belief is this exactly that has led generation after generation to build stone cities on the hills of Göbekli, like the foolish old man moving mountains, only to eventually have to give up? What kind of dynasty is this? They could rule for thousands of years, but left no trace in history. The truth of it all, though it's impossible to prove. However, experts have found a strange coincidence through the carvings on the stones. Carvings of handbags in the images, not only found in the ancient ruins of Göbekli Tepe, even in summer, it's famous, and in the temple ruins of ancient Egypt. Similar carvings have been found. Two civilizations spanning nearly 6,000 years. Why would the same carving style appear? Could it be they themselves belong to the same civilization? Or is the handbag carving for a deeper purpose? Conspiracy theorists believe these patterns could very well be a kind of prophecy. A prophecy about Emoshi. However, scholars have found, after a series of studies, The carvings in Göbekli Stone Town likely represent an ancient calendar and star maps from over 10,000 years ago. The intricate patterns in the images likely represent the days within a solar cycle, and those animal patterns, maybe they represent the position of a constellation. Does that mean Göbekli is actually a distant, ancient observatory? In 2019, archaeologists in Karahan found similar stone structures on the hills. But his era is even earlier than Berkeley. At the same time, they also discovered many traces of human habitation. Is there a chance? Karahan Hill, it's actually a residential area in a city, while Göbekli is a place for religious ceremonies. Interestingly, the distance from Karahan Hill to Göbekli is 37 kilometers, and the distance from the Purple Forbidden City to Sky Terrace happens to be 3.7 kilometers as well. Are you telling me that 12,000 years ago, there was a city here 10 times bigger than Beijing during the Ming Dynasty? Or perhaps Göbekli Stone Town has intricate connections? Is there a web of connections between them? The prehistoric truth about Göbekli becomes even more mysterious as more and more unknown puzzles emerge one after another. Why did they bury Stone Town? Just to rebuild it again? Why such a massive project with no records in the stone? How did humans from 12,000 years ago have technology ahead of their time? The truth about prehistory seems to be hidden in a cataclysmic event that happened over 10,000. A visitor from an archaeology professor at the University of Edinburgh. After years of research on the eve of Martin, Göbekli's practical construction purpose is to record the meteor shower impact event of that year and predict possible future changes in the stars. Turning over geology, we found that 12,000 years ago, there was indeed a global mass extinction event known as the fourth quarter extinction event. In this extinction event, including catastrophic creatures like the thunder horse and saber, mammals weighing over 40 kilograms were wiped out by nearly half. And we humans, aren't we also mammals, weighing over 40 kilograms? It seems like all the clues lead back to square one. Maybe all we need to do is unlock the hidden messages in the stone formation, and all our problems will be solved. However, the truth is becoming more and more elusive. Scientists have discovered that in the layers dating back 12,900 years, there were thriving earthly creatures. But after that, there's been no trace of them. And within the layers of the Earth, globally, they also detected abrupt changes in climate temperature. This abnormal geological shift has been dubbed by scientists as the Fresh Maiden Tomb event. Approximately 12,900 years ago, the Earth in the interstellar space suddenly faced the impact of the Taurus meteor shower. Following, a large number of meteorites collided with the Earth and the Moon, causing a rise in sea levels. It's a sudden change in temperature, resulting in a massive extinction event. We're comparing the patterns on the Göbekli Tepe to Professor Martin's theory and the mythological records of ancient civilizations worldwide. It seems like the whole truth has come to light. So is there a possibility that 1.2 centuries ago, there was a sporadic ice age lasting hundreds or even meteor showers for thousands of years? Back in the ancient days, they had to put in a ton of time and effort to construct the town of Göbekli Tepe. Could it be that their goal was to document and predict the future in vivid images that might occur? Scientists have used geological data to simulate the impact site of a new Valkyrie tomb event, confronted with the traces left by these meteorite impacts. Could this be the real reason why great floods appeared in ancient civilizations around the world? One can imagine that the sudden and overwhelming flood of that time instantly washed away all traces left by prehistory. The once magnificent and towering temple and the civilizations built by ancient people were also swept away by that flood and submerged in the river of time. The ancient Greek philosopher Plato, he even mentioned it in his podcast. A massive flood submerged Atlantis. What's even more coincident, archaeologists have already confirmed the sinking of Atlantis may have occurred around 9,600 BC, 11,600 years ago. When we put all these time points together, the truth is becoming crystal clear. During that cataclysmic event of Earth's rebirth that year, what kind of helplessness did ancient humans experience? Maybe this is the northwestern sky from a myth. Southeast on the ground line, the despair of Niwa mending the sky. Why can't we find the geographical coordinates in accordance with never finding the corresponding geographical location, the location that corresponds to the classic? So the mountain classics in the classic of mountains, the sea classics, as well as the classic, could they be the three major coordinates of the events? One is the geographical landscape before the fresh female tomb. One is the major disaster happening at the fresh female tomb. One is the recreation of heaven after Fuxi and Yuhua restarted civilization. Of course, these views are just speculation. This is the encyclopedia of legend. Pay attention to me, and you'll know too much. A terrifying fact proves, if Sangsingdui continues to dig deeper, not only will prehistoric civilizations they might even have originated from ancient Huaxia. Don't believe me? Take a look. This is at Sangsingdui Pit number 8. The bronze statue of an upright figure unearthed from a sacrifice. What's chilling is, some netizens at that blue gang in India actually captured a similar-looking tribe. The people here not only have the custom of earlobe stretching, even their ornaments. It's like a carbon copy of the Sangsingdui relics. Their skin tone doesn't fit the typical East Asian look. They even claim to be descendants of dragons. The difference is, the dragons they talk about aren't the traditional Chinese dragons. So here's the question. How did Sangsingdui immigrants end up in India? Could it be that a long time ago, this place was once part of the ancient state of Shu? Or perhaps due to the chaos of war? Have they really ended up here? What's even more difficult to explain is the strange artifacts unearthed at Sangsingdui. There's more than just this one. This is the bronze divine tree unearthed from Sacrificial Pit 2. The tree branches are adorned with 9 lifelike bronze birds. The strange thing is, in the classic of mountains and seas, there's actually a record about this tree. Tonggu encountered the Fusang tree in the middle of the sea for 10 days. 9 days below no. 1 day above no. Even though only 9 birds live on the same tree. But the intention expressed by the creator. What about that bird on duty in the sky? If the bronze god tree is really the Fusang tree, then the mythical stories recorded in Shanhai Jing, as well as those non-existent geographical features, it is very likely the 1,200-year history lost by humans. Even more coincidentally, on the stone carvings at the Soma ruins, there were even similar trees that appeared. Advocates of the Western origin theory believe even the Sangsingdui civilization came from a distant Western origin, and they listed many examples, using fabricated evidence to fit their narrative. These conspiracy theories, such as the golden masks and the facial features, the style of sculpting, but on the Suwalni version, I've seen similar carvings before. And this piece should only belong to the Western world. The golden scepter that symbolizes power, along with the Sumerian-style sun wheel. Faced with these flawed arguments, so how do you explain that? What about the golden mask of the ancient Egyptian pharaoh? The painting style of this mask, if we don't consider skin color, has absolutely nothing to do with Western races. He's got that classic Asian vibe going on, you know? Western scholars have some shady motives, man. They've managed to rope ancient Egypt into Western civilization, weirdly, even all sorts of movies and TV shows. It's like they're hinting that Western civilization rules the whole world. This whole thing about plundering world cultural treasures, it's basically a sign of cultural inferiority. They just can't handle the idea. Over in the East, there's actually an even older civilization predating ancient Greece. So, those self-media folks with Western capital backgrounds, they're starting to hype up. The reason why Samsung's team isn't digging deep, it's not just because the more they dig, the more confused, but also, they'll trace the origins of Chinese civilization back to the West. However, what conspiracy theorists didn't anticipate is, our Chinese civilization has a history of 5,000. Everything that has happened throughout our history, you could trace it all back in the history books. The Shangshu tomb has records. During King Wu's conquest of there were 8 vassal states that followed King Wu, including the state of Shu. Even though the state of Shu was destroyed by Qin, the historical memories of the state of Shu have always been passed down among the people. And even from relics unearthed from Sangsingdui, traces left in historical records can be found. This is the vertical wooden mask unearthed from pit number 2. His eerie style of sculpture has become a catalyst for promoting igniting conspiracy theorists. Many uninformed individuals, after watching some misleading videos, started foolishly believing that this doesn't belong to us at all, our unique American style. In fact, anyone familiar with history would know. Way back over 2,000 years ago, the Chronicles of Huayang mentioned a monkey surrounded by mulberry bushes. He was known as King Gazoff. The mask depicts, isn't it the image of the first generation Rat King surrounded by those bloggers chasing after views, spreading rumors about Sangsingdui getting more confusing as they were their true intentions. Looking at all the artifacts unearthed from Sangsingdui, which one can't be found in historical records? Are we just going to believe those hearsay rumors and false theories? Are there any more gossips and rumors going around? So if we go by, like those conspiracy theorists making wild assumptions, can we really think that way? Sangsingdui and Sumer. And the reason they look similar to ancient Egyptian style, is it because their culture actually originated from ancient Huaxia? Or maybe back in a really ancient prehistoric era, the whole continent was connected together. Humans share common cultures and beliefs, you know? But of course, these are just speculations. It's better than those who just chase after selling out their own culture to Western influencers. It should be more neutral. This is the encyclopedia of story. If you follow me, you'll know way too much. Why can't we ever find a location corresponding to the current in a classic of mountains and seas? Are you trying to say, is the classic of mountains and seas just a book of myths? Or is it that someone long ago actually saw these creatures and recorded them? In 1953, American scholar Mu, after reading Wei Ning's translation of the classic, decided to personally search for those non-existent mountains and rivers. A series of eerie encounters made him break out in a cold sweat. Can you believe that the 4 mountain ranges in the Americas matched the orientation of the mountains recorded in the Dongshan classic? It's incredible. Not only that, Mrs. Moore also discovered that the Great He in the Shanhai Jing is none other than the Grand Canyon in America, and the pufferfish mentioned in the book actually appears in the Americas. After years of research, Mrs. Moore came to a stunning conclusion. At least 4,000 years ago, the Chinese had already explored the Americas and passed on the advanced Huaxia culture to the Americas. So, could the Shanhai Jing be true? If it is true, where did those prehistoric monsters go? And those ancient mountain and river landscapes, why did they suddenly disappear without a trace? So, turns out it's all about the truth from prehistoric. It seems like scientists have been digging deep into and they may have found some answers. Scientists have stumbled upon in layers dating back to 12,900 years ago, teeming with lively saber-toothed tigers and mammoths. But in the layers after that, there's only a thin layer of dark mud left. And in that layer, they found some nanotechnology particles melted by high temperatures. Look at these marks. It's the double evidence left by the flooding and high temperatures. After analyzing the geology, scientists have reached a terrifying conclusion. At that time, Earth was hit by the Taurus meteor shower. Countless meteorites crashed onto Earth. In an instant, Earth turned into a living hell. Experts refer to this extinction period as the new Valkyrie tomb period. And then the ice caps in the northern hemisphere started melting rapidly. A global catastrophic flood is on its way. Maybe this is what the mythical story of Tianqing Shibei is all about in Southeast. The desperation of Nuwa repairing the sky. We always thought that the great flood that happened back then was just a myth. The funny thing is, why in all ancient civilizations around the world, there have been records of great floods? Could it be that the Great Flood is actually a real historical memory of... Strangely enough, scientists have discovered through research that around 12,000 years ago, the Earth experienced 2 sudden rises in sea level. Scientists have called them meltwater pulses 1A and 1B, which occurred over the course of several thousand. The sea level continues to rise. Harsh weather conditions. Not only did it submerge traces left by ancients, but also a large number of animals and plants perished in that extinction with a trace. From 1,200 years ago to the present, the global sea level has risen by about 140 meters on average. So, if we were to lower the current sea level by 140 meters, we could simulate the famous prehistoric land environment. Get ready for a spooky scene. The legendary 3 Seas planet. Soon the ancient god suddenly appears before us. Until now, we finally understand the stories told in myths. The Sea Witch of the East once rode a giant lobster to the mortal realm. He claimed to have seen it with his own eyes 3 times. The East Sea has turned into a mulberry field. The water of the once famous Peng Lai is now more valuable than ever. Is this the true story of the mountain and sea classic? The once vast ocean has turned into fields, a vibrant oasis, but now a barren desert. Information from those ancient worlds, like fragments, scattered in the myths and legends of ancient civilizations. Traces left by past civilizations in this world have long been submerged in the river of time. Only the pale and feeble fragments of text. And all we can find are pyramids that have been sealed and eroded, along with strange carvings buried deep underground, and an incomplete, unfathomable classic of mountains and sea. We can't even imagine the catastrophic events that humanity has faced, to the point where there are gaps in human civilization. Paleontologists have identified from the strata, Earth has experienced 5 major extinction events. The Great Extinction Event. The most familiar to us is the 5th one, which happened 65 million years ago, that little asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs. But what the textbooks didn't tell us is, about 1.2 million years ago, Earth had already gone through the 6th major extinction event, known as the 4th quarter extinction event. In the midst of this disaster, more than 40 kilograms of mammals have almost been wiped out by half. And us humans, aren't we also? Mammals weighing over 40 kilograms? What's mind-boggling is, experts, by deciphering the Göbekli Tepe, carvings in the stone town, found a bizarre coincidence. The archaeology professor Martin from the University of Edinburgh believes the carvings in the stone town correspond to star map coordinates from 11,900 years ago. Record a meteor shower impact event, happening exactly at the mentioned time. Let's take another look back at the above mentioned event coordinates. The glacier melting after the Freshwoman Tomb incident, followed by a rise in sea level, leading to a catastrophic global flood. Then came the fourth season of mass extinction. The Taming Tower Road and the Three Seas Plain. It has seemed like they really existed. These coincidences shouldn't be happening. It seems like they're hinting at something to us. The mountain scriptures from the classic, the sea scriptures, and the great wilderness scriptures, likely corresponding to the three major prehistoric events. Standard. 1 is the mountain and river geography before the new fairy. There's a new sighting of a fairy. A major catastrophic event occurred. 1 is the reshaping of heaven and after the restart of civilization by Nuwa's daughter. The geographical feature. Although these speculations have not been recognized by the mainstream academic community, the truth about prehistory seems to be hidden within the mythological stories we know. It's all just myths and legends. That's probably the closest thing to a real memory from that era. Welcome to the Encyclopedia of Story. If you pay attention to me, you'll know way too much. Do you believe it? Do you think there was once a civilization here on Earth? This here's a real, authentic video. It's an expedition team from overseas when they were exploring the ocean floor near the Hawaiian Islands. What? They found a neatly arranged yellow brick road on the seabed. Even though scientists have explained, the so-called yellow brick road is simply the result of multiple volcanic forming the unique shape afterwards. But there are still many who believe that this yellow brick road leads to the mythical city of Atlantis, a must-pass route. So how do we explain then this seemingly ancient gear-shaped object? In the year 1900, archaeologists near the waters of the island of Antikythera in Greece, they found this contraption that looks like some kind of gear. Scientists took a closer look and figured out that this device not only tells the time and date perfectly, but also tracks the movements of the moon, the sun, and the 5 major planets. It can even predict maps of the sky months in advance, pinpointing the exact time of day. And what's even more mind-blowing is, can you believe this device dates back to the year 100? That's about 100 years yet similar technology didn't appear in Europe until the 14th century. Even in today's tech-savvy world, it'd be nearly impossible to craft gears without the help of machinery. The level of intricacy in the knowledge required to make this device involves not just math, but also astronomy, physics, and most of modern science. Are you saying that over 2,000 years ago, ancient people already had knowledge that modern technology only has? Or perhaps, in ancient times, the level of human technology was already beyond our imagination, maybe even surpassing today's technological civilization. What's even stranger is, in myths and legends from all around the world, there are records of a great flood. What's surprising is that before the Great Flood, it seemed like a time of wild gods and demons dancing. But after the Great Flood, there are very few historical records that mention legends of gods and demons. So, can we consider it the Great Flood of the world? It's basically a line dividing 2 civilizations. And those bizarre, mythical legends, could they be famous technological creations in the world? Like what we see now, everyday things like airplanes and cannons, if described in the language of ancient people, would sound something like this. In the Northern Ocean, its name is Kuin. The Kuin fish is so large, its length is transformed into a bird. Its name is Pung. Or maybe like this. A divine thunderbolt descends from the sky, drawing it towards the earth. The mountains and rivers, the sound travels for 800 miles. Einstein once predicted, I don't know what weapons will be used in the Third World War, but the fourth time definitely involved using a rock. Assuming there really was a prehistoric civilization. So, will they end up like Einstein predicted? Due to a prehistoric war causing a great flood, leading to the sudden disappearance of human civilization overnight, resulting in a fracture in civilization. This is the largest pyramid in Egypt, the Hoof Pyramid. Its height is equivalent to 40 stories high. The total weight is around 684 million tons. The largest stone weighs up to 50 tons. The way it was built is still a mystery to this day. Even with modern technology, rebuilding it is quite a challenge. It's no small feat. It's hard to imagine an independent society over 4,500. How did the ancient Egyptians gather so many stones and move them to a distance of hundreds of meters, and then transport them to a height of over 100 meters? It's mind-boggling. This project relies solely on manual labor. It's just not possible to complete. What's even more mind-boggling is, its only purpose is to serve as the pharaoh's tomb. What's strange is, pyramids aren't just found in Egypt. They appear in ancient ruins all over the world. His presence can be found there too. Even in the desolate, icy wasteland of Antarctica, similar pyramid-like structures have been discovered there too. Even on distant Mars. Without the #1 probe, we still captured similar golden characters, traces of pyramid-like structures. Such an unbelievable coincidence. Could it be that these structures all came from the same civilization? Or perhaps ancient civilizations worldwide believed in the same kind of religion? Not just the pyramids. In the Ica province of Peru, some unexplainable structures have also appeared. In 1939, an archaeologist named Paul Kosak, while flying to the Great Ska Plains, accidentally stumbled upon some shocking patterns. These patterns are incredibly huge, so much so that it's hard to spot them on the ground. What exactly are they depicting? Like this 300-meter-long hummingbird, and a 108-meter-long proboscis monkey, and this giant stork that's over 50 meters tall. But that's not all. The entire valley is practically covered with different shapes and various geometric shapes. It's estimated that there are thousands of these lines. But because there are so many of them, some of the lines are intertwined, making it really complex. And they keep discovering new lines, right up until today. Still haven't figured out his exact number. After measuring with carbon silex, the production time of these lines, it's around 500 BC, over 2,000 years ago. What puzzles scientists is, such a huge pattern can only be seen from at least 300 meters high to see his overall appearance clearly. And only at this height can you direct. Ground crew, only someone with real talent could paint these weird designs. In today's world of rapid technological advance, it would be impossible to create these paintings and modern tools like laser mapping. It's just not feasible to do these paintings without them. What's even more crucial is, what exactly is the purpose of these paintings? Some say it's a map. Because ancient people didn't have paper to record information, we'll have to use the terrain to pinpoint the location of the water source. There's another even more bizarre theory, by a Swiss writer named Eric von Dahn. After more than 30 years of research, Nick Kim believes the Nazca Desert is where extraterrestrial spaceships that visited Earth landed. These straight lines and spiral represent the planet's movement trajectory, while those animal figures represent constellations. Like this astronaut-looking design right here, and this one that represents a spiral galaxy. It might just be the best evidence. Even though Eric's alien spaceship runway says it's been mocked by scientists, but it also drew people's attention to the vast expanse of outer space. Many couldn't help but start to wonder if these designs were actually created by the ancient Nazca people, painting according to the constellations in the sky, or maybe even the ancient Nazca people had already mastered advanced technology and had conquered the vast universe beyond Earth. What's even more mysterious, that not far from the Nazca ruins, in a small town, they unexpectedly found some stones with strange patterns. These stones not only depict heart surgery, but the entire process of transplant. They even show human beings battling dinosaurs. If these stones aren't fake, this could be the greatest discovery in history, because it not only proves the existence of an ancient civilization, but also suggests that in ancient times, humans and dinosaurs coexisted. Like, wow, that thing there looks like something flying. And scenes of stargazing through a telescope. These strange patterns, it's hard not to connect it to ancient legends, or even aliens. Not just in Peru, but in many places all over the world. Unexplainable ruins have been found. 1934, British archaeologist Charles Leonard Woolley. At the ruins of the Sumerian civilization, many clay tablets with inscriptions were discovered. Yet, these seemingly ordinary clay tablets documented a truth about a prehistoric civilization and the legend of extraterrestrial visits to Earth. Based on the deciphered inscriptions on the tablets, approximately 450,000 years ago, a group of extraterrestrials arrived on Earth. They altered humanity and established civilization. The Sumerians called them the Anunnaki. The orbit of Nibiru is elliptical. Every 3,600 years on average, it enters the solar system. The purpose of the Anunnaki coming to Earth is to collect gold, to repair the atmosphere of Nibiru. To address the issue of labor, they genetically modified humans and taught humans a great deal of technology. And that's how the Sumerian civilization came to be. This is from a site of the Sumerian civilization, the Tree of Life unearthed from it. What's terrifying is, it's shockingly similar to the bronze tree from Sangsingdui. They're eerily alike, and both have similar phonetic patterns. Their styles even match up perfectly. So why do two ancient civilizations, separated by over 6,000 kilometers, have this in common? It's so strangely similar. Could it be that there's some kind of mysterious connection between them? Or maybe they actually come from the same civilization. Some archaeologists believe that long ago, all the land on Earth was connected together. Historians refer to it as Pangea. If the events recorded by the Sumeral people are true, can we speculate in this way? that when the Anunnaki left Earth, they destroyed their traces of visiting Earth, and also to prevent humans from using the technology to pose a threat to the planet Nibiru. They reluctantly activated high-tech weapons, causing the Earth's tectonic plates to shift instantly, resulting in a catastrophic flood. Of course, that's just pure speculation. There's absolutely no scientific basis for it, because modern folks just wouldn't buy into such nonsense. A bizarre kind of analysis. Welcome to Storepedia. Thanks for tuning in. This is the imprint left behind by Tri-Leaf, a champion of dating back approximately 500 million. This is a hammer left over from the Ordovician period, dating back at least 400 million years. Although scientists have debunked the so-called shoe print and iron hammer as merely traces accidentally left behind by modern humans, there are still many who firmly believe that the world-famous cases not only truly existed, but that more than 10,000 years ago, someone had already seen the Earth from a space perspective. This is a highly controversial map, drawn by the French mathematician Phineas in 1531. Not only does it clearly depict the topography of the Antarctic continent, but also the direction of the mountain ranges. What's strange is, humans didn't discover Antarctica until 1820. However, this map was drawn in 1531, a time difference of nearly 300 years, in an era that had no concept of Antarctica at all. We don't even have modern geological survey tools and advanced scientific techniques. How do they manage to accurately draw its outline, as well as the direction of each mountain range? The scary part is, the Antarctica marked on this map doesn't have any ice or snow cover. Are you telling me that when this map was drawn, in 1531, there was no ice? Is the Antarctic continent like a vast oasis? However, according to modern geological exploration results, the history of the Antarctic ice sheet is at least 5 million years, and the appearance of humans was approximately 300,000 years ago. If this map is real, then during this period of 300,000 years, it is highly likely that the ice sheet has melted at least once. What's even more interesting is, geologists compared modern satellite maps with ancient maps and discovered the Antarctic continent depicted on the map most likely represents its state 10,000 years ago. And Fadewus's notes indicate that this map wasn't just his original creation, but was actually based on some, even more ancient maps. If there really are even older maps out there, then the mind-boggling question arises, just how ancient are these older maps? In a time when only sailboat and simple foot travel were the norm, how did they manage to discover Antarctica? The Fadewus map poses a thought-provoking question about the world over 10,000 years ago. What was it like exactly? Is there some kind of technology beyond our understanding? It's just an ancient map after all, but this ancient Chinese map has caused a huge sensation in the Western world. The prestigious British magazine, The Economist, wrote on the front page that maybe China discovered it before Columbus. Just an ancient map. It's compelling evidence that Chinese sailor. He was the first person to travel around the world. The news hit like a heavy bombshell. If this map is real, it means human history is about to be completely changed. It's written that Portuguese explorer Diaz only discovered the Cape of Good Hope in Africa in 1488. Columbus didn't find the entire American continent until 1492. Europeans didn't discover Australia until 1606. But on this world map from 1418, not only is Africa clearly drawn, but so are the Americas and Oceania, even in classes discovered as late as 1820. Not to mention the Arctic that wasn't found until the 16th century. Obviously, the appearance of this map doesn't line up with history, and there's a high possibility it's a forgery. However, in 2006, the University of Waikato in New Zealand's lab, the map was authenticated, showing the paper is from the same time period as and the drawing style used in making the map. The timing of the signatures align perfectly. Are you suggesting that our history is about to be rewritten? Retired British Royal Navy officer Gavin Moncrief, influenced by this map, after reviewing a large amount of data, I believe that China was the first to discover the world. And from this, he created 1421, China discovers the world. So is there a chance that the locations marked along the way could be John? Back when we were watching the sunset together. Have you ever been to that place? But Zheng's navigation map looks like this. His drawing style and technique are completely different from the world map. Besides, there is no record in history. Zheng's fleet never visited any of the places along the way. It's strange, located in the Oceania region on the map, but with such a gaze. In the 13th year of a Yongle, accompanied by the official eunuch Ma, Sanbao, and others to visit arriving directly at the countries of Aloma, bestowing gifts generously, returning to Beijing in the 16th year of Yongle. Based on the description in this passage, many people believe the original map should have been drawn with this background. In the 13th year of Yongle, a group of people followed Zhenghe, after visiting many small countries in Oceania, finally returned to Beijing in the 16th year of Yongle. This is related to the events that appeared on the original map in the bottom left corner. Correspond. The author of the map was during the Qianlong reign, which is in 1763, modeled after a map from the 16th year of the Ming Dynasty. They call it the land of all. The map drawn by Shi Gong. In the western region of America, it's marked with natives with dark red skin. Their leaders all speak in bird language. In reality, the indigenous people, the Native Americans, do look like this. In the region of Mexico, observing, all cities are built with stone, so it's known as the Stone City. This must be where the ancient Mayans lived. There's the famous Mayan pyramid. And in the position of Australia, also marked with indigenous people serving in black. Can't connect the medical bone spur. I looked up some relevant information. The indigenous people of Australia really look like this. What's even more eerie is, there's a line of text written in the top left corner of the map. Anything not circled in red. Kai Yuan 2 is the so-called namer. In other words, the places marked in red boxes are all locations already on the original map. According to this passage, at least during the period of Yongle 16th year, the places inside these red boxes had already been discovered by the Chinese. Are you suggesting that the ancient map referenced an even older map? Those ancient creators, how they stood in God's view to explore every corner of the world, maybe our world, is far more bizarre than we imagine. In the year 1929, in Turkey, in the Topkapi Palace in Istanbul, people found a special fragment of a map, because this map was from Admiral Smith, found in Pierce's study. That's why people call this map the Vice Map. Lace map, it not only shows the terrain of North and South America, but also the topography of West Africa and Antarctica, as well as the terrain of various mountain ranges. What's strange is, the map was actually drawn in 1513, and the layout is identical to the Ptolemy's world map. Everything on the map is clearly depicted. The look of the Antarctic continent, and the Antarctic on the map. No ice or snow covering. At the same time, below the map, the text also describes, there are still wild, naked men on the Antarctic continent, lush, spicy dropping plants, and terrifying giant snakes. What's even more unbelievable is, in 1953, Charles Hapgood, the famous professor from Harvard University, the American Geological Survey team has learned that the Antarctic region marked on the map by Reese actually correspond to the Air Force. The survey of Princess Matilda of the Maud Emperor, the coastline's contours, astonishingly match up. And according to the descriptions in Base's notebook, this map is based on over 20 different original ancient maps. What we've drawn here, and there are 8 of them, referring back to the 4th of ancient maps from the Alexander era. So the same question arises again. The common thread in these ancient maps is, they all reference some even older maps, and their artistic style seems to be drawn from a bird's eye view. What's eerie is, the American moon explorer at work. Among the many Earth photos, there's one that's identical to the lace map. In this photo, the shape of South America is elongated as well, and the elongated shape perfectly matches the lace map. In other words, those ancient maps used as references most likely were based on the filmmaker from outer space. Perhaps as early as 10,000 years ago, someone looked down at the Earth from the moon's position. So the question arises again. On this map of the Sanfu Valley, the Antarctic continent is not covered in ice and snow. According to modern scientists' estimates, if all the glaciers in Antarctica were to melt, the global sea level would rise by about 66 meters, and it would also cause serious climate disasters. The real reason behind the prehistoric Great Flood could it be related to the melting of the Antarctic continent? This is the Encyclopedia of Story. Pay attention to me, and you'll know way too much.